here's what I would say to that. Why not be well versed in and sexuality? You can be. I mean, that's a transferable skill. If you have a heavy analytical bent, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to translate that over into the human sexuality realm. For example, I'm very conversant with, female, anatomy and sexuality and whatnot. So that's never been a problem for me. There's an easy transference of skills. Go ahead. You want to say? Go ahead.
You have men who don't see value in women, right? They see women as utility. So why would they want to focus on pleasing?
Well, what would they want to use them for then? Hold on. You said
them to have an orgasm. The man it's for him to be able to have an orgasm.
Oh, I see. Okay, got you. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
But her having an orgasm is of no consequence. He's not focused on.
Which you would think, which is kind of odd because it only takes about, I think the average time for a woman to have an orgasm, I want to say it's 12 minutes. I could be. It's under 20 minutes. It's definitely under 20 minutes. Don't quote me. Don't get me to lying about the exact number. For the average man, it's less than 10 minutes. But the average woman, it's under 20 minutes. So it's not that hard to do. Let me bring in Mr. G, Counselor Mr. G. All right, Mr. G, you're on the air. Welcome to the show. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for the PayPal. Go right ahead. You have the floor. Do you agree that we're in a post-Kevin Samuels era?
I do, and I agree with. Well, first of all, peace to everyone. I like to be a part of these types of discussions. I just started my channel. Brother O, you know a little bit more about me as per my email, but I'm not going to go into a big resume. But with regard to the subject, yeah, I do believe we are in that post-Kevin era. And however, I kind of push back a little bit at the notion that the battle was won, because you're dealing with an opposing force that no matter what you say, they are still going to believe what they believe. And it's not until the consequences come to the full fruition that you're going to see these concessions that we're all looking for with regard to them finally admitting that they have indeed lost. It's just like in the days of old when armies would go on the battlefield, and once the war was won, it wasn't officially won until the troops start going into the villages and, creating the new order. So I do agree that there is a lopsided aspect to this in terms of the rhetoric. You have a lot of people who are still kind of making these circular arguments, and what Brother Kevin was able to do was dismantle these particular arguments, but they're still using them. And it's not until the consequences that you're going to see these concessions. So that's kind of my take on it. But I do agree, yeah, I mean, in terms of the rhetorical battle, that's been won, but the consequences and the concessions are not going to happen until you see the pain. And that's part of the reason why I started my channel, because I'm going to start getting into that as far as what comes next, because the battle is lost for them and the consequences are on the way.
Well, would you agree with me that black women in the main have already conceded the point, just their very presence, why they vote with their feet over a Kevin show for the past 2 years? Would you agree with me that most black women now the internet is very interesting because it can give you the misleading impression that a whole lot of black women are kind of against this, when in truth it's a very small group, but they have the ability to amplify their voice. Would you agree with me that most black women have pretty much conceded the point, but just by their very showing up over at Kevin's? And would you agree with me that Kevin handling all of the women that I mentioned, Tasha K, Kendra G, Nicki Minaj, Tommy Lee, Brittany Renner, Crystalline Carrison, would you agree that those are all signposts that the ladies have pretty much lost the battle and have conceded?
Well, again, I believe from a rhetorical standpoint, they have conceded some things, but it's like they say, actions speak louder than words. And do we see this translated into the society? Do we see women's behavior reflecting some of the ladies who may be like Sister Letitia, who's here, that are speaking the way that we would like them to speak, and some of the other female content creators.
I know a whole bunch of black women who do that. Sure.
Well, I'm talking about from the standpoint of the society. because we still
these sisters exist, and they don't exist in outer space. They exist in American society. Yeah.
No, I mean, because we're still looking at the communities that are looking the way they're looking in terms of the children and their behavior.
Yeah, you're looking at the hood rat community. I don't look at the hood rat community. I'm looking at the upper middle class community. They're doing,
Well, but they were always doing it. So I mean, I guess from the standpoint of being able to measure any advancement with regard to this, I think you have to look at those women who have been displaying this wayward behavior. The women who have always been on point, they're going to be on point regardless. But if we're going to use,
why are we focusing on hood rat chicks then?
Well, I'm not even talking about the hood rat chicks. I don't deal with hood rat chicks.
All right. We're not talking about. So who are we talking about?
The strong, independent women. I'm talking about the women who, they don't need no man. And these, for the most part, are not the hood rats. These are the.
So you're talking about black women. So you're talking about black women who, if they are highly educated, they're unattractive.
No.
Hang on. If we're talking about we're not talking about the upper class black women. We're not talking about the hood rats. You're talking about the strong and independent, basically feminists. Feminists, as a general rule, tend to be unattractive. They're notable exceptions, but they tend to be unattractive.
I mean, just for the sake of setting the framework of this, when I'm dealing with women, I'm only talking about women that I find attractive. I'm not dealing with the big Shirleys, the hood rats, and all of that. I'm talking within the framework of women that are dateable. I don't.
Clearly, they're not dateable because we wouldn't be talking about them right now if they were dateable.
Yeah, but I'm saying that you still would see. I mean, you could go to your local Instagram, TikTok, or what have you, and you'll see women who are, for all intents and purposes, physically attractive, but they still have that mindset, irrespective of the rhetoric.
So they're disagreeable. These are black women who have made themselves disagreeable, and as far as I'm concerned, they are like the kamikazes of World War II, fighting a losing cause. The battle is done. It's over, and they're still in the bushes trying to, fight 20 years later, and the war is over.
Okay.
Why are you focused on the equivalent of the Japanese kamikaze?
Well, here's the thing about that, though. See, if we need to deal with some numbers then. So let me ask you, what do you think is the percentage of those women who you feel have kind of changed, that as a function of this rhetoric and everything that has happened, the post-Kevin era, as opposed to the pre-Kevin era, what's the percentage that you think has changed? How has the needle moved, in your opinion, in terms of some quantifiable numbers?
Well, I don't have any quantifiable numbers. That we can't get to that because we're doing all this bickering back and forth. I would love to go back and see if we can try to, get some sense based on what Kevin's done in the past 2 years, and we could try to get some sense of some numbers from it. But there's so much focused and everybody's so fixated on going back and forth between each other that we can't do that for whatever reason.
Yeah, I see. But I guess the main point that I'm making is that until you can see it reflected in society in terms of the marriage rates, in terms of men.
Well, we know the most successful black men marry at a rate of 83% to other black women. We know that.
Well, yeah, I mean, in terms of the stats, 85% of black men who are married to black women, and 93% of black women who are married.
But the most successful black men, the high-value black men, marry black women at a rate of 83%. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not arguing with that.
So again, it seems to me this is a class issue. If you're a black man that's not very successful, you're really up against it because you're dealing with black women that are disagreeable, unattractive. I mean, there's a whole lot of problems that you got there. Seems to me, I tell you, many brothers in the black manosphere, I don't get it because my thing is, seems to me the solution is to be as successful as you possibly can because if for no other reason, then you have a better selection of women to choose from. That seems to me to make the most sense.
Exactly. Yeah, that's that. Not only do I agree with that, I've lived that. And like I said, as per our email correspondence, I told you a little bit about me. I've kind of been traveling and doing a lot of things. I mean, I was married young, and I was going to do the whole, taking care of her. She didn't have to work, and unfortunately, because we were so young, she felt she had more life to live, and I pretty much was more traditional in my
you said she had more life to live. I think what you meant was that she had more.
Well,
she had more of that.
Well, what I mean is, okay, I'll put it like this: she was not ready to be the housewife that I wanted her to be. She was young and hot, and I made the mistake, just because someone's beautiful and you gel together, that does not make for a good family necessarily. You have to kind of, I was young, I was in my 20s, but
brother counselor.
Yeah.
See, your problem, like I said, was your manalytics. See, you was enamored with that jiggly. See, you was in love with her face. See, women, y'all make love to women's faces. They make love to y'all wallets. See, you got to make sure that woman is invested in you. So you should have put that woman to work. So you should have started a small business. I don't care if it made $2,000 a year. Next year, y'all made $5,000, $7,000. You got to keep that woman busy. If you don't keep that woman busy, she gets idle time. And just because she's a 10, everybody thinks she's a 10 at cooking, 10 at shutting up. No, a woman that's a 10 is a woman that attends to your business, brother. Now, that's a bad bitch.
Yeah. Now, just to that point, I agree with you. And like I said, I was about 22, 23. She was around 19. And I actually did put her to work. I helped her get a little job around the way because, she was basically just sitting at home as I was building my career in the financial industry. So I do agree with you on that. And in terms of just kind of the way things went, even at that age, I knew that if I was not going to get what I was willing to invest into the relationship, then it had to go. And because I owned everything. She basically moved into my house and everything. So, once we decided to part ways, it was what it was. But that was young me. But subsequent to that, I decided to just focus on bettering myself as per what you guys have been talking about, getting those manalytics up, and that's what I was able to do. And my life has been great ever since. And to the extent that I'm willing to deal with a woman now, it's completely within the framework of getting that feminine, fit, friendly type of female. And it's not necessarily within the framework of a marriage. It's just in terms of just dealing with women, because at this point, I live abroad and I've been traveling for a long time.
Does she have to be a dime this time? Because when you're younger, you just enamored with looks.
You know what? I never
this time, and she do everything else you say. What you think?
No. I don't think she has to be a dime. In fact, I'm very strict. So in terms of, I don't come across a lot of women that I would consider a dime. I have a very flexible scale with regard to what I find attractive in a woman, in terms of body type, in terms of features and all of that. So I'm pretty flexible in that regard. And, but no, I don't have a specific cookie cutter or definite number she has to be at. But I am more concerned about her having the right type of mentality and definitely working within the framework of what I am bringing to the table. So that's my primary concern in terms of being women
that's
that I'm
good game, brother. Because a lot of brothers in this space, brother Obsidian, they enamored with just looks when they younger, and I'll be like, that's young man's thinking. I ain't saying we want a butt ugly woman, but you still have to have a woman that's well balanced. She knows when you don't want to talk, to leave you alone. She knows how to cook. She knows how to help prepare things for you. So it's more than just a pretty face, man.
That's true. You make a very fair point. Very, very fair point. Takes more than just a big butt and a smile to get the job done. That's for sure. Especially in the long term, if you're dealing with anything long term or long range, yeah, you're gonna need something beyond just looks alone. That's definitely true. I'm wondering. I'm wondering what Letitia has to say about all this. We're going to wrap this up because I went a little bit over time. Sir Ism, I really appreciate you coming through. And Mr. G, you're always welcome here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Mr.